Come on. Of course. There we go. And we're live. Let me just click the little go live button over here on the Instagram whenever it decides to cooperate. I don't know why it is that I have to click a separate button on Instagram, but whatever. There we go. And we're
Instagram likes to
live.
be unique.
Yeah, it sure does. Hello, 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 my friends. Thank you for joining me. I'm Nicholas W. Fuller, and this is Person Behind the Pages, the show where we get to know the creators that make the things we love. Tonight, I'm joined by another one of the break-ins, Francisca Liliana. How you doing, Frankie?
Good. Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Hi, guys. I see you two over on Instagram. Thanks for joining. Hey, we got... Who else is joining? We got someone on YouTube. Hey, say hi. Got a few people on Twitter. Thanks everyone for checking us out, man. Hey, that Callum guy. I know that guy. Howdy, Callum. Bro, I love... How good is his cover art? You've seen it, right?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Right?
I love that cover.
It's so unique.
It is. I've never seen anything like it before. I mean, personally, the cover just captures me.
If you guys haven't seen Callum's cover yet, it's definitely on Twitter. I know I posted it. Have you shucks? Actually, I guess it's on Callum's website. Callum, go ahead and drop your link for your website, and then we'll actually get talking more with Frankie. But so, yeah, Frankie. Then and anyone else that's around, feel free to say hi. I want to say hi to all y'all. But yeah, so much to talk about, Frankie. You've of course got your debut novel, Isla's Reach, is out in the world. Remind me, when did you publish Isla's Reach?
I published it in June of last year, June 16th. So the anniversary is coming up.
Yeah. You and Jonathan and Brian, all break-ins, getting their debut anniversary here right around this time. That's cool.
I think Andrew too.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. Maybe
that
I'm wrong.
Sounds right.
Don't quote me on that.
All right, I will quote you. No, just kidding. Rob, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Yeah, so yeah, your book has been out for about a year now, which is awesome. You're getting good reviews, that sort of thing. You've been doing for longer than that, doing reviews of books also, which is something we're going to talk about. You also recently won that Indie Fantasy Fund, so that's going to help you bring Isla's Reach to audiobook, which is super cool. I want to talk about that. And I think in general we're just gonna bullshit about books a bit, It's gonna be fun.
Love that. It's the best kind of bullshit.
Right? We'll talk a little bit about craft and process too. So yeah, again, thanks everyone for joining us. Feel free to say hi in any of the chats. And let's see, where do I want to start, Frankie? You know what? Let's talk about what are some of your favorite books you got there behind you, Frankie?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, there's gosh, I have so many. Well, this one, we were talking about this one earlier, but this one.
Ooh.
This cover, this author, this book. This book is so good. It's one of my favorites. This is one of my top three favorite authors. Just love. I will read anything that this man writes.
Yeah.
But this book is insane. I mean, insane. So it's really good. It's got a phenomenal first chapter. It breaks you with that first chapter, and then just continues to break you throughout the remainder of the book. So it's highly recommend.
Highly recommend. Nice.
Yeah, I got my John Gwynne and Anthony Rao. I haven't read these ones yet though.
Yeah.
But these ones are really good. I've only read the first one of this one. I'm really sorry. I feel like as a grimdark girly, I should finish the rest, but haven't. But yeah, I have a lot. I have a bunch. But yeah.
So a bit of a book collector too, in addition to a voracious reader.
Yeah, I really like collecting pretty books. I have a condition where I need to own as many copies of my favorite books as possible. And there's no cure. It's a lifelong condition.
Yeah, right. That's funny. Yeah, I feel a little similar. Just like not so much that I need like every edition, but I'm like, ooh, I like that one maybe more. So like, like if there's like a really, really fancy edition of one of my favorites, I'm like, that's the one I need,
Yeah. See, that's really great and, like, getting, like, all the different editions, but the ones that really get me are the ones that have the illustrations inside of it. If it
Right,
has
right.
illustrations, if it has new artwork, I'm done. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
it for me.
happening. You get
I
it.
need all the artwork, all of
Yeah.
it. So
What's like, I mean, when you see the art, how often does it kind of line up with your expectations that you built in your head?
oh, it usually blows it out of the park. I mean, most recently with, like, the Broken Binding editions of the Malazan series, I
Oh, right.
need those in my life
Yes,
like I
yes.
need air. Like, it's just like, it's a necessity for me. So and the artwork was, like, beyond. It was amazing. Those artists were able
Yeah,
to get that artwork for the books, with Petrick's direction
right.
phenomenally. I mean, just amazing. I mean, one of them brought me to tears, like, when I saw it. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how well done they are.
Yeah, 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 I was gonna shout out Petrick too, like, yeah, his direction on them has been
Yeah.
that, but of course, like, yeah, the artists are just absolutely stunning, you know?
Just their combined work really created something super special that I am super, super excited to see out in the world, to see on my
Right.
bookshelves. I need them on. I
Yeah,
have a
they
space
have
for
to be right here.
them.
Yeah. So, I imagine most of my audience is probably aware of Broken Binding, but for anyone that's not, you wanna go ahead and, like, explain it because you used to be a rep for Broken Binding for a while, right?
I used to be, yeah, over on Instagram. They're just, like, amazing, honestly. They're just incredible. They hire so many of these wonderful artists to do artwork on their new editions of published books, but, like, they also are super, they have a they champion indie authors as
Yeah.
well, and I think that's just fantastic, but also, like, their pricing is really good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is they're the type of artwork and the type of quality that their books are is amazing for how much you're, like, paying for it, which is not that much, I think.
Right. Right.
Um, but, like, I
I've
don't
seen, like,
know,
yeah. There's, like,
like,
some crazy special editions where you can spend, like, $1,000, and I'm like, I don't know any book that
see,
I like that much, you know what I mean?
yeah, that's the thing. I got that it brings me back to Malazan, where Malazan just does not if you are a Malazan fan, you know the difficulty of getting the same sized editions because there are
Mhm.
literally tons of them, and they're all different shapes, they're all different sizes. None of my Malazan books on my shelf are any of the same, like, height or anything like that. They're just kind of all over the place. And then the special editions that are available out there are ridiculous amount of money. I mean, they go for thousands of dollars.
Wow, wow,
People
wow.
resell them, they're out of print, like, and so the Broken Binding doing the Malazan editions is literally a dream come true because it is affordable to us fans who just do not have that kind of money to spend.
Right.
So it's yeah, I love the Broken Binding. Think they're
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I'm super stoked. I just won a giveaway for them on Twitter for the new sci-fi with Andy Weir. Like,
Oh.
Andy Weir is, like, one of my top 3 authors right now. I love The
Oh,
Martian, I love Project Hail Mary, so good.
what a giveaway to win then. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, right? No, I was even saying, like, after one, I was like, "This is so amazing because like, I was a little bummed that I had missed the sign up for the box because I there's a good chance I would have signed up for the box, you know? But
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was gonna like, go that fast, you know? But then
Oh,
I won a
they
giveaway.
yeah,
Yeah.
it goes
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. I was on the
Those
wait
those
list for the sub for, like, almost 2 years before I
Oh,
got in.
wow. Wow,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah, their model is pretty cool the way they do the subscription. That's pretty I like it,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
So Broken Branding's cool, and you've yeah, you mentioned that you used to be a rep on Instagram. Also on Instagram, you often do kind of your live reactions as you're reading. So could you tell us a little bit about those? Because
Yeah.
those are so fun to see.
So I have so many feelings when I'm reading, and not everybody is able to buddy read with me, so I force the world to buddy read with me. And I don't I try very hard not to, like, make I try to very hard to make things very ambiguous. I don't
Mhm.
put out spoilers or anything like that, but, like, I do need to share my reaction or otherwise I will explode. And that's kind of the only way I can get it done, but people seem to really like it and enjoy it and find it funny, and it's just
Yeah.
me being chaotic.
Yeah, I know. I love it. You're like enthusiasm for it, and it's fantastic. What's one of like your most recent live reactions that you've done?
Oh, okay, so I'm reading 2 books at the moment. I am
Uh-huh.
reading
Uh-huh.
Blood and Bone, which
Okay.
is
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th book
Oh.
in novels of the Malazan Empire, and
Um,
recently I've been doing this one, but I have also been reading The Prince of Nothing, and I'm
hmm.
currently in the middle of The Warrior Prophet, which has been destroying my life. I'm currently very mad at this book because it's being mean to me, very mean to me, and so these are the 2 books that I'm reacting to on my stories on Instagram currently.
Nice. Nice.
Um, but yeah, they're both excellent, they're both great. This one is just a I've never read anything like that book. Oh my gosh, like this series. It's crazy.
I recently like devoured Dungeon Crawler Carl over a weekend. Have you read that one or heard of it?
Oh, I have not, but I know Andrew
Yeah.
Andrew Watson really loves
Right.
Dungeon Crawler. Yeah.
So I finished it, and then I got on his Discord, and I was like, Andrew, we need to discuss.
Yeah.
So it was,
Yeah.
similar.
I know I'm
Yeah.
gonna need to get into that at some point.
It's I mean, for sure it's not for everyone, but if it does seem like something where you're like, this might be fun, then you'll probably find it fun.
Yeah.
I was talking with a Library of a Viking last week, and he's like, I don't think that could possibly design a book that is more not for me. Which is fine,
That's so
like no
good.
book is for everyone, but like that was
Yeah,
funny.
it's so funny when Library of Viking, when he can't get into I know he started, like, Dead House Gates, like, 3 separate times and just
Oh yeah.
couldn't get into it, and that's just it's funny to me.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
it is,
yeah.
like, books are they're not for everybody. You might love
Sure.
it so much, but it just doesn't vibe with somebody else, and that's perfectly fine. Curates
Right.
variety of opinions, right? So but
Yeah, yeah.
it's fun to see.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, completely agree and well said. Um um let me see. So let's talk, just nerding out about books, and I want to get to talk about Easel's Reach, but we're gonna wait a little bit on that. You know why? Because I tend to get more and more viewers as I go, and I want to hype up your book later.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Solid.
um.
Nice.
So one thing you mentioned really quick to me beforehand was that you tend to like UK covers a little bit more, which
Mhm.
I find interesting because I haven't looked at like a whole ton of UK covers, but one in particular is the Legends and Lattes, right? And they
Oh, yeah.
like he had a really cool cover with like the two main characters, and then he sold it to our UK, and they're like, "Nah, we're doing a completely different thing with the cover," and like I don't like it. I don't like it. So what is it about UK covers that generally, does it for you more? Because I feel like there is a different style, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the feel of the UK covers more, like their paperback. So I was a huge Book Depository person before Book Depository died. May it
Mm,
rest in peace
mm.
because I loved that site, which is it's so sad that it went down. But that's where I got most of my books, and they're mostly UK editions that I can't find here in the US. And I just like really hold on, let me see. Where's this one? Oh, like this cover is incredible. It's
That
so
is nice.
pretty with
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
dragons and the colors, and I really like the feel of it and the size of it, but the US cover is not It's not like that.
Really?
And it's I don't wanna say it's boring, because I mean, everybody like, I don't wanna, like, ick
Yeah.
anybody's yum, you know?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, like, if you like the US covers, then that's totally fine. I just prefer
Yeah,
the UK ones just because I think they have better art, in my opinion.
that's fair.
I like their font, I like the feel, I like the size of it, because this is, like, I believe, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, um, anybody, that this is, like, their version of a trade paperback.
Mm,
And our trade paperbacks are this.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
so tiny. Look how thick this book is. It's so tiny, and it's just like I hate holding it in my hand because my hands are also very small, and I can't, like, it hurts my hands to hold
Yeah,
something like this.
that's fair.
But this one's much easier, it's much bigger. I don't know. That's just my opinion
No,
on it,
fair.
but
I actually like I like the size of a mass market paperback. The small ones, I like the small books, but, like, I know that I feel like that's a sacrilege to say, so nobody heard that.
totally
Over on
valid.
Instagram, I see you, bud. Noah's brisk reviews. I've been seeing your stuff too, and I liked what you're doing. Very cool. He says that he needs to read Eastless Reach. Hashtag the break-ins. So, buddy, do you have a copy? Because if not, like, maybe we have a hookup. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, so I love it. Love the UK covers. I want to talk to you about the reviews, and I know that you've been doing like reviews for a little while. And I want to talk about how you got into that. But first, let's talk about have you always been a book nerd? Were you the kid like me that, like, sometimes, not always, but sometimes during recess at school, you were just like your nose in a book rather than playing with the other kids?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Always been a book person.
Yeah.
Would want books for Christmas, would just stay inside and read books. When I was in school on lunch, I spent my time in the library just
Yeah.
reading books. I didn't know that my high school had a thing where, the most person with the checked out books gets like their name on the wall. I got my name on the wall when I was in high school for most checked out books. I don't know. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I have always been a bookish person, always reading, always. It's just been my happy place. My parents had to, instead of, grounding me from going outside or taking my, electronics away, or the few electronics that I had,
Yeah.
they would, take away my
Take your
books.
books. That's funny. But, like, I mean, I get it. It's got to be something, especially as a parent. I get it. But, like, that's usually the thing that we never take away from my son, because like he's always on his, like, tablet and his Switch and whatever. But we're like, no, you can go read if we take him off. And he likes reading. Don't get me wrong, But yeah, I mean, if that was your thing, then that's what they got to do. So harsh, but that's
Yeah.
what they got to do.
I was a good kid. They didn't take away my books very often.
Yeah, yeah, same. I
No
was
matter
also a
what
good
they
kid.
say. I was a very good kid.
Contrary to popular, yeah, that's funny. Um, um, Noah on Instagram asked, when did Malazan take over Francesca's life? So, how
Oh,
long have you been Malazan stan?
okay. I spent the entire year last year reading nothing but Malazan. I think I might have ventured out maybe 3 or 4 times
Wow.
the entire year. Um, I think I started reading Malazan in, like, November of 22, and then spent the entire 23 soul deep in Malazan. And then now
So
I'm
deep.
continuing that
Wow.
trend.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I am continuing that trend through 24, except I'm trying to branch out to other things as well, because I'm currently reading Ice's books, in the Malazan world, because I aim to be a scholar of Malazan. I want to know everything about it. I want to be able to just I want to live actually really don't wanna live in this world. Nobody wants to live in this world, but I
You're
wanna
gonna be
pretend
the
that I'm from there.
You're going to be the admin of the Malazan wikis, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Not quite that good yet, but yeah, so it's been, I would say probably almost a 2-year journey of
Okay. Okay.
Malazan.
And so, like, when you're not only absorbed at home with books, I guess your day job is, you said to me that you have a boring bank desk job, but it allows you to like read audiobooks while which sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's like it's a job. It pays the bills. It enables me to buy books, and I can listen to I pretty much listen to audiobooks all day at my
Yeah.
desk job. I just kind of rotate between music, crime podcasts, and audiobooks, fantasy audiobooks. So it's just it's a it's a constant circle of just
Yeah.
varying
Yeah.
degrees of grimdark. Because I
Yeah.
listen to my hard rock music, and then I
Hmm.
listen to my crime podcasts, and then I
Hmm.
listen to my grimdark books.
There you go. There you go. That's funny. I was just on a kick the other day where I was like, we're going a little harder than I usually do, and I listened to like BYOB from System of a Down, and that just led down I'm like, okay. But hey, speaking of crime podcasts, this is like we're gonna go on a little bit of a tangent here, and it's not quite the same. But have you seen the show Only Murders in the Building?
Only Murders in the Building, no. Oh, I
No.
oh, I broke it, I'm sorry.
I love the show. Like again, like not anything is for everyone, but like it's so fun. The premise is that there's this apartment building in New York City, and there's two old dudes and a young lady, and the old dudes are Steve Martin and Martin Short. So like you're getting that humor right away, right? And the young woman is Selena Gomez, former singer and whatnot, still singer actually. But anyway, they all they all live in the same apartment building, and they're all obsessed with the same like true crime podcast. But then they all lose power at the building right when the like season finale of the podcast is dropping. So all three of them like go across over to like this deli that's right across the street or whatever, and they kind of realize like, oh, you're listening to the podcast too, and they like become instant besties. Like unexpected besties. But then they start solving murders in the building themselves, and like it's on like season 3. It's so fun. Definitely one of my favorite shows out in the world right now. Anyone else? Anyone
Nice,
else? The
okay.
Only Murders fan? Anyone? Uh, cool, cool, cool.
Oh, I hear the heartbreaking more.
No, no, no. um, it's fun. It's fun. If anyone else out there has seen it, let me know. Back me up on this. But anyway, while you were you're able to listen to the audiobooks while you're working. That sounds cool. Were you able at any point, was any, and we won't tell your boss, don't worry, was any amount of Isla's Reach written while you were at work?
Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. I would like, when I would get done with all my work, I'm usually able to have, like, maybe, like, sometimes, like, half an hour to an hour of, like, free time after I've, like, finished everything,
Hmm. Hmm.
and when I was writing Eastless Reach, I would take that time to write, and then I would send the document to myself and then
Hmm.
send it
Hmm.
back and forth between my emails until I got it, like, all done and everything, and then sometimes I would just, like, start a new document and then send it to myself and then work on it when I got home. So, it was I definitely traveled back and forth
Yeah.
writing between that time, yeah.
Are you writing all in like MS Word?
Yeah, I do everything on Word.
Yeah.
I know other people, like, use other gadgets and other apps for writing and stuff, but,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just what I do, and
That's
then I
fair.
have, like, a whole other document of, like,
Yeah.
things I need to remember or things I need to change and stuff, so I keep that up, but, like, mostly, yeah, it's just all on a Word document.
All right. I love that you mentioned this other document, and we're gonna get into craft a little bit. Um, so I like that idea. I've kind of been doing the same thing myself, all in like a big like I use Google Docs only because one, you can access it easily on any of my machines, and then two, I do have a in-person writing group that I meet with every week, and they tend to like be my very first readers, and it's really easy to share and then really easy to get feedback that way.
Mhm.
Do you have a writing group or critique group at all? Is that part of your
I
process?
Not currently. I don't have
Okay.
anybody reading over it or looking over it. It's just my eyes currently.
That's cool.
I do have a friend that I have sent a few chapters to,
Hmm.
and she has looked at it and given me feedback, and so it's just her for right now. Um, but I'm like, I want to say, I think I'm like at 85K with it right now,
Oh,
85,000,
nice, nice, nice. Okay,
through book
okay.
2, and she's read, like, chapter 1. So
Yeah,
so, like, it's not
yeah,
it's, like, great feedback, it's great feedback. I'm not, like,
yeah, yeah.
because she's probably gonna watch this. Ashley, you're amazing. Thank you.
No, I get it. I
But,
get it. Yeah,
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 like, it's just currently mostly just me.
yeah. Fair, fair. So I was listening at this like chat recently or lecture. Actually, it was like a lecture that was given to like one of the seminars that Pro Writing Aid puts on, which have been actually pretty cool. But this particular thing was talking about how to be a prolific writer and talked a little bit about the importance of writing like quickly, especially as like newish writers. The only way that we're going to get better is to do it more, right? And the best way, like if we write one book and then kind of move on to the next, we will learn a lot of things. So it was talking about, okay, how do you write a book quickly? Um, a fair bit of it was kind of, like start out with just kind of ideas and log lines. So like kind of a one line sort of pitch for the book, right? And then talk to like a friend or something about that pitch, but then also think about other ways you could pitch the book and put a different spin on it with the same book, but kind of emphasizing different points, and see which ones kind of land better with like your friends and colleagues and whatnot. That I thought was clever. But anyway, like the idea that kind of made me think when you were mentioning this was putting in a spreadsheet all of your notes of like things that you need to go and change, and then after you do that first draft, you don't worry when you're drafting about fixing those things at all. You know that you just put them in that list and you're going to go back to them. But then after you finish that draft, you add like another column to that spreadsheet for priority, and the things that are like major rewrites and really important and going to impact a lot, those get really high priority. Things that are easier to fix, like, oh, I decided to change this character's name. That's actually pretty easy to fix. So that can be a lower priority. But then you work through that list from those high priority items down to the low priority. And the reason of doing that is because again, like these things that are like require significant changes. Well, some of the other stuff, like, oh, I didn't do a good job of like establishing the setting in this scene. Well, if some of the other ones are really big rewrites, then maybe that scene isn't even there. So you don't want to spend time improving those things when it might not be relevant with the bigger things. But I love this idea so much. And I was like I love the idea too, the spreadsheet and working through that, because I've heard so much too of like keeping a word count log as you're writing and you kind of gamifying your drafting that way because you want to improve on your average and that sort of thing. And like that's cool, but I could never kind of understand how to do anything similar with editing. But this spreadsheet idea and like being able to kind of cross things off the spreadsheet, I was like, that's good. So it sounds like, I mean, you're kind of doing a similar thing and having the big list of things that you need to change. Yeah.
So, yeah, so, like, it's okay, so it's funny because that is what you just said is so organized. It's so not me. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it
like
is.
to be fair, I'm not there right now. I think it's a good idea, but it's not exactly what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, like, yes, I do. I have, like, a whole list of things that I've just, like, quickly dotted down that I need to, like, change or that I need to remember, like, a certain theme that I need to go in a certain chapter, or I have a lot of dialogue, like, I get random,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
ideas of what I want my characters to say to each other during certain scenes, but I haven't written that scene yet. So I'll write down the dialogue, not necessarily with all of the descriptions and all the flowery prose and all the, all the really good meaty things. I just write down the basic dialogue, and then I go back to it once I'm like to that scene, and then I'll write it, and then it'll be amazing and awesome, and I love it. But um
Yeah.
but that's kind of like my chaotic little sheet that I have where I just kind of write down my ideas and write down things I need to change. But I am the most pantser that has ever pantsed when it comes to when it comes to writing.
Yeah.
I just kind of sit down, I let my characters take me where they need to go, and I'm their chauffeur. I just take them
Mhm.
where they need to go. Um,
Do
and
you like so a lot of pantsers I've heard they don't know the next step, but they do at least kind of know the end, and sometimes they even have like kind of guideposts along the way. Do you know the end?
yes.
Okay.
So I do have places where I want my characters to be, like, emotionally, I have more of an
Mm,
emotional map than a physical
mm,
map for my characters.
nice.
Um, and I know that I want this character to get from point A to point B to point C, and I know the ending to the book. I know what's gonna happen in the middle. I kind of know, like, little areas that I want them to be, but it's
Mhm.
more of an emotional journey for them that I'm, like, trying to keep track,
So, like, your
and
point B might be like, "At this point, my main character is going to be broken."
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Um, but everything that happens in between, getting from point A to point B is kind of just, like, up for grabs, and it
Yeah.
just kind of happens the way that it happens, and then which is why I reread a lot of my I know a lot of people say, "Just write your first draft and don't look at what's happening like, just write and then you can go over it later." I
Mhm.
cannot do that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I am physically incapable of just moving on.
Mhm.
I reread, I rework, chapters that I have already written, and, a lot of the times I will read something and I'll go, "Huh, that's Frankie talking. Like, there's no way the character would actually say that. Like, this is not the character, this is me talking, and so I have to change it or something because something didn't feel right about them or something, like I wasn't channeling them the way that I should have been."
Sure, sure.
But yeah, like, it's just kind of wherever the characters take me, they kinda just take me. I know where they need to be, but emotionally, but physically, it just kind of, like, happens, and then I get ideas that sprout from that. So one idea kind of feeds the other, and then feeds the other, and then feeds the other, and then till there's a whole book, and then I go back and then finally with, 2nd and 3rd drafts, finalize everything and get everything where it needs to be, take away chapters and stuff, and rewrite and all the good things.
Yeah, yeah. So I've heard too that everyone kind of really spends the same amount of work on a book. It's just like if you're more of a planner, then you're doing it up front, whereas if you're more of a pantser, then you're doing it later. So because yeah, I'm sure that sometimes you're like, that was Frankie talking, or sometimes you're like, this is whatever. Like you just sort of alluded to, like maybe a chapter doesn't work or that sort of thing. Does your editing process like kind of formalized? Is it much of a process, or is it just like, no, I just keep working on it until it all sounds good?
Yeah, I just keep working at it until it all sounds good.
Yeah.
Until I get to the point where I am so sick of
Yeah.
looking at this chapter
Yeah.
that I want to throw up. Like, it's just like, you get to a point where you're just like, "I can't look at you anymore,
Yeah.
or I'm going to delete the whole thing." And
Yeah.
then, once you leave it alone for, like, a week, you go back and read it, 100% of the time, I'm like, "Oh, this is great.
This is
This is
great.
fine. What was I
Maybe
thinking? This was okay. Like, I
maybe
can
I
work
know how
with
to do
this."
this writing shit.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. Look at me. Yeah.
I know. I can do this.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, like, which is why I'm a huge advocate for never throwing anything away. Anything you have written, do not throw it away.
Hmm.
Take a break from it, go back to it, a few days later, you're gonna find something in there that's gonna work, and then you can build on that. And that's what I do when I'm in my editing phase is I look at the things I don't like, I find what I do, and I work with that and I build off of it, and then it turns into something that I'm genuinely proud of.
Nice, nice. Well, I want to go back and talk about reviews for a little bit, and then I want to get into easeless reach a little bit more
Mhm.
specifically. Let's craft more easeless reach. So you do reviews on FanFi Attic, and you've been doing this for a little bit, right? When did you start doing reviews on there? Well, I mean, obviously you've been kind of doing your own reviews for a while since you were in grade school, going, "This one's good, this one's not," you know. But when did you start doing it with FanFi Attic?
It's like last year. I think it
Mhm,
was, close to the end of the year last year, I think, that I started with Vampire Addict.
mhm,
Um, but before that, I was just, like, posting I mean, I've always been posting I think I started my Instagram, like, Bookstagram,
mhm,
like,
mhm.
in 21, I think,
Okay, okay.
around there, I think. And I had been posting reviews on there, and then Library of a Viking used to have a blog, and I used to post reviews on his blog.
Oh,
And
really?
then yeah, and then, he got rid of the blog, which was totally fine. It wasn't, like, uh, doing as well as he had hoped, and so he wanted to focus more on his YouTube channel
YouTube,
because
right?
he had just, like, started his YouTube channel at that time, and he was building it and everything, and it's amazing now, and he's doing fantastic, so obviously he made the right decision. And so I was just, continuing to post reviews on my Instagram, and then I would post them also on Goodreads, and then I reached out to, David at Vampire Addict and was like, "Hey, I would love to be able to write reviews for a blog because I really enjoyed it last time. It was really fun.
Mhm.
And I like having a place where I can go to just post about it and be able to word vomit all over the place because my reviews are tend to be very long because I have a lot to say.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, it's been fun.
Nice, nice, nice. So that's interesting. You at least on FanFi Attic, you were already an author published with Easeless Reach before you started posting there, then, right?
Yes, I had already released Easeless
Yeah,
Reach when I started there. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people kind of go the other way, but again, like you were already posting like reviews on Bookstagram and that sort of thing. Was the reviewing on Bookstagram? You said 2021, so was this kind of like a COVID reaction or no?
So I was like getting really serious about writing,
Mm,
and I had no idea that Bookstagram existed. I
mm,
literally had no clue of it. I wasn't really into the whole like booktube or anything like that. Like I was just reading and I didn't really
mhm.
know that this whole
There's
community
a yeah, yeah.
existed.
Mhm.
And so I started an Instagram because I was starting to get very serious about wanting to publish. And so I thought to myself, well, I need to have like a social media presence to be able to, tell people and show people and stuff. And so I started it. But then I found this huge community of people who loved books and were as crazy and chaotic as I am about them. So I I met so many people, I made so many friends, I am super active on my Bookstagram because it's where I started and it's where most of all of my friends are and people who wanna talk about books, so I'm very active on there,
Mhm.
and, that's just kind of how the whole thing started, and I had no idea that it would it would blow up as much as it did and how many
Right,
people
right.
that I met and how many friends that I was able to create, and there's just a lot of really great people, on Bookstagram.
Book people are good people. It's a,
Yeah.
undeniable fact. Uh, so you published some shorts and some poetry along the way, right? I'm assuming that probably happened around this period when you started to get serious about your writing?
Yeah, so, I did publish, I had a short story published in a magazine, I had a few poems, published in a magazine as well, a literary magazine. I had just, gotten out of, I think, was it community college? I like just graduated community college,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
my writing teacher was very supportive and like would give me tips and send me links to like different types of literary submission links and stuff and uh, and so I kind of got started with that, and then once my short story had gotten accepted, it was the first time that I'd ever been published, and
How
I
much of a
was
happy dance did you do then?
oh,
Hmm?
I sobbed. I cried. I literally opened the email and cried my eyes out that these people wanted to publish my short
Yeah.
story, and that kind of, like that's kind of what jump started, my journey into becoming, like, an author, into writing Ezel's Reach, because 'cause I'm like, "I can do it. I did it
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
I
Nice,
can do
nice.
it. It's just gonna be a thicker story."
Yeah. I did it. I'm just gonna do more of it, and people are gonna
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. That's cool. Mike Porter on Instagram is asking any advice for a part-time author trying to get some traction on Instagram. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Um, be active and just, like, talk to people, honestly. Like,
Mm,
it's not just, like, uh, you know, talking to people to get more reach, just, like, genuinely, like, make friends,
yep.
comment on a post that of a book that you really like, and post about a book that you really love, or, um, talk to other people who have the same interests as you, and, just making friends, honestly, like, that's really what it took for me. Like, I didn't have any kind of agenda at all. I just wanted to talk to people. I just because it had always been just me for the longest time talking
Yeah.
about fantasy books, because I'm pretty much the only reader in my family, and
Mm,
so I didn't really have anybody to talk to, so when I found Bookstagram, it was all these people that I could finally talk to, and I just kind of word vomited all over them. I forced my friendship upon them, like I force everybody to buddy read with me. So, it's just like a it's a you just have to go out there and make friends, honestly.
yeah.
That's just genuinely be you, is my advice.
I love that. I love that. I want to add to that for Mike specifically. Dude, go join that SFF Insiders Discord that I mentioned. Great
Mhm.
community there. Great way to make friends. Also, maybe check out some other people, other authors that are finding some success. So Andy Peliquin. I don't. Have you seen Andy Peliquin on
Oh, yeah.
Instagram lately?
Yeah.
Man, I, I'm gonna talk with Andy sometime in the future, and I asked on our Break-ins Discord, like, what should I ask him? And Andrew was like, "Where and how did he make a blood sacrifice to be able to read and write so much?" And I want to ask exactly that question because
I know.
clearly there's dark magic involved, you know. But cool. Yeah, but Andy Peliquin keeps doing reels about the books he's read, and like occasionally some progress on his writing, that sort of thing. Also, ZS Diamante and Caden Love, other break-ins, but they're doing pretty good things on Instagram and on TikTok. And are you on Book Talk also, Frankie?
I am not.
Yeah, neither am I. But like sometimes I'm like, eventually, like, it's a good plan, and I think that there's a lot of potential overlap with Instagram Reels and TikTok videos.
Mhm.
I've seen some people do that, but my T my TBR is so long I can never die. Anyone? Yeah, yeah.
That's
We're
the
never.
thing. Like, I sometimes I'll think about, like, when I'm dead, there's going to be books that are published that are really good that I'm never gonna be able to read, and that, like, really bothers me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah. No.
like
Yeah, yeah.
there will be books published long after I'm gone, and they're gonna be incredible, and they're gonna become classics, and I'm never gonna be able to read them,
I'm
and that
never
makes me
gonna
really
know. Yeah,
sad.
yeah. Right. Um. Um. All right. So let's. Oh. I know. Okay. Easels Reach and also Easels Reach audiobook. So first of all, like, give our audience kind of the pitch for Easels Reach, please.
So, Ageless Reach is it's a grimdark story about a girl who is really happy with her life at home, and
And
nothing
you, as
ever
the
goes
author, went
wrong.
and screwed all that up, didn't you?
Yeah, she has a lot to go through.
Mhm, mhm.
It has dragons, animal companions, not in the way that you're thinking, um, and lots of gritty, dark themes with lots of emotion and really great, heartfelt characters, and a it's just it's my baby. I just love my baby.
Yes, yes. Do you happen to have a copy of your baby right there?
I do.
Yeah, we go. Okay, let's do. Hang on. There we go. No, I can even. We'll do that. It's still nice and big. Ooh. Ah. So, the cover. I think it was. Who did your cover again?
Felix Ortiz.
I thought it was Felix. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's
So
amazing.
pretty. And
Yeah.
then, if you could show it again, is it
Oh,
the one that's she starts out happy and then goes through hell?
yeah.
That's her in the middle there, right?
Yep. This is Evelyn,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is Mon,
Mm-hmm.
and that is Merrick. So it
Nice.
focuses on these three, and
It's
they're very different people, but they all come together in unexpected ways, and hell ensues.
And so Evelyn is chilling there with a wolf, right?
Yes.
And was it Mon with the like quite large bird?
Yes, that
Yeah.
is a raptor.
Nice, nice. And then I assume that the dragon must be for the other dude.
Oh yeah, no, the dragon is yeah, he's there.
Dragon's doing
It's
his own
fine.
thing.
He's dragoning.
He's
He's a
dragging it.
dragon
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
dragoning.
Oh, I heard but going back to collecting books, I heard that book dragon is the phrase now for book collectors because we just like to build up our hoard, and I'm like, I love
Like
that,
Smaug.
man. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, going through a bit of hell. We got grimdark vibes, right?
Grimdark vibes. It is a character focused story. I
Mhm,
really like to
mhm,
focus on my characters. Has quite the emotional journey. I have received feedback that it's you feel like with the first quarter of it is you kind of wonder is anything going to happen, and then it suddenly happens all at once, and then you just can't put the book down. That is the feedback I have received. but
nice.
um but yeah, it kind of just hits you when
Yeah.
right in the heart.
Ugh, ugh. Um. What is like kind of the it's this meets that sort of pitch for Easeless Reach?
Oh
Put
gosh.
you on the spot with that one. I know.
um I don't know. Okay, so hmm I I think, and I this is not this is just my own personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, hey, I
And
mean,
just
you probably know it better than other folks. You know.
but if I think that if you really like the character-driven stories of Robin Hobb,
Okay. Okay. Good. Good.
you will enjoy Eastless Reach.
There we go.
And I think that if you also enjoy the uh, gritty, just kick you when you're down kind of grimdark, like
Mm-hmm.
it in Malazan, then you're really gonna like Eastless Reach.
Robin Hobb and Malazan. There we go. Like, I mean, nice, nice. Um, and of course, this book has been out for a while. You've had quite a few reviews. Is there any kind of review that really is like stuck in your head, or like some feedback that you've got that you're like, oh, that one, I love that one.
So I actually received okay, so my boss,
Hmm, hmm.
her daughter really likes fantasy.
Nice.
And my boss found out that I wrote Useless Reach, and so she ended up getting the book for her daughter.
Okay.
And her daughter ended up writing me a letter
Wow.
saying how much she loved it, how it impacted her, how she has been recommending it to all of her friends and all this stuff. She just wrote this beautiful, lovely
That's so cool.
letter.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, excuse me, letter, and it just like hit me so hard in my heart because it was so personal. She took the time to type it up. It was on a piece of paper. And I mean, it's not like posted on Goodreads, it's not on Amazon, but it's something that she just gave to me personally that is just one of the best things I've ever received. Um, and it was so lovely and so kind and so nice. And uh, that's the that's the one that sticks in my head. And whenever I'm having a particularly bad bout of
Dust that
imposter
off.
syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
read this letter and it helps me, like, it gives me encouragement to keep writing.
Yeah,
So,
that's lovely.
yeah, that one's my favorite. But I mean, there have been so many other really, really wonderful reviews and everything that people have tagged me in and everything. Because for my sanity, I do not check reviews unless I am tagged or somebody sends it to me. Because I can't, I deal with imposter syndrome on the daily and just cannot handle that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I leave it as it is and I don't check it. And the only time that I do is if somebody actually lets me know.
I feel
And the
like, I
people
mean,
who have let me know have been really nice.
right, right. This, I don't think that we ever get rid of imposter syndrome, right? I can't remember who. Maybe it was like Veronica Roth, who's had some success, but like she was saying, yeah,
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, it's still there. Like fuck. I was hoping
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah, like, yeah, you would think it would. I mean,
Yeah,
I thought it would be better after I released Eastless Reach. I'm like, "Oh, I did it, so it's gonna be fine now." And I'm
yeah.
writing book 2 and I'm like, "Nope,
Still
nope,
there. Still
still
there.
there."
Yeah. That's so sweet. Where do you keep that letter? Do you like I feel like I would have it framed, but maybe you keep it in a drawer
Yeah,
somewhere or something.
so I actually do have it. It's on my desk right now, but I do wanna
Nice.
get it, like I do wanna get it, like, laminated so I can save
Yeah.
it and it
Yeah.
won't be,
Yeah.
but
That's
yeah.
cool. That's cool. Um okay. All right. So Easel of Reach sounds super fun. It's already available, of course, like on Amazon with the
Mhm.
Kindle and print. And soon it'll be in audio as well, right?
Yes. Yes, I have been working on getting this book as an audiobook since last year.
Hmm.
So it has been a process to try and get this done. But this is something that I know that I have always wanted to turn it into an
Hmm.
audio because I'm such a huge audiobook person.
Hmm.
It's how I consume most of my books. And it's just like I just want it out there because I just love audiobooks so much. But kind of one of the reasoning is because I know for audiobooks for me, I have had dyslexia for all my life. I very much struggle with it even today. Um, it is a daily struggle for me, and it's hard for me to sit down and read physical books. It's not impossible, I still do it, but it is just a lot easier for me as to be able to do it via audiobook. And
Hmm.
so I know the struggle of sitting down and trying to read a book that you really want to read, but it's just really hard. And so I
Yeah.
want to be able to give everybody the opportunity to read my book. So it was really important to me to get it out into an audiobook format. So I'm really, really excited to share it very soon and to get it out there and everything.
Love it, love it. And one of the things kind of helping in that process is you were one of the winners in this year's indie fantasy fund, right?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. I genuinely forgot that I had entered into it, because, I mean, I had seen it in years previous, and it was really cool. I thought it was a very it's an awesome thing that, the sponsors of that grant and Zach have done to be able to offer indie authors, the chance to do something that they might not financially be able to do themselves. So I think that's fantastic because it is expensive being an indie author. It's
Oh
so
yeah.
expensive. Oh my gosh, you really have to love writing to be an indie author, truly, because it is just it sucks your soul right out of your body and you
Yeah, yeah.
you
Fair.
really have to have a love for it. But
I mean, I feel like trad sucks your soul out of your body also, but in a different way.
yeah,
You know?
in a different way,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. The
Yeah, of
coring
course.
process is definitely gonna like grind your heart into pulp, you
Mhm.
know?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. So I entered into it because this year was an audiobook one, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have to," and so I did, but in my brain, I put it like I told myself, "You need to continue working towards this audiobook like you didn't enter into this
Sure,
grant."
sure.
Um, because if it doesn't work out, then, you don't wanna be disappointed about it. So, I literally my brain did a bit of a too good job at that, and I forgot that I entered into it until I had gotten the email, and I was like, "What? Oh my gosh," and then it just, like it, like, all came back, and I was so excited, and it's amazing, and it's just oh my gosh, I'm super, super grateful, um, and I can't believe that that actually happened.
Yeah, yeah. Super, super cool. Well, so and where are you at in the process right now? Are like have you settled on a narrator?
So, I settled on a narrator last year,
Nice.
and she is amazing. I'm so
Nice.
happy. She is genuinely a pleasure to work with. I'm so excited for everyone to hear her voice because it is fantastic.
Nice.
She has currently finished, recording it.
Ooh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so
You're like
we're
you're
very
yeah,
yeah, we're
okay.
very close, we're very close. I talked to her in September of last year, and she didn't have any availability until May of this year.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I booked her far in advance, and she started recording in May, and I think it was last week she sent me an email saying that, she had finished recording and that they are doing the proofing and that it should be uploaded. She'll send me, like, a notification for me to approve it, to listen to it, and to make sure everything's all good and ready in, like, 2 to 3 weeks or something like that. So, I will be announcing a release date very, very soon.
That's exciting. That's pretty
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um okay, briefly. Uh if anyone doesn't know Indie Fantasy Fun, we talked about it a little bit, but that's put together by this wonderful booktuber named Bookborn and her husband, author Zach Argyle. And basically they both they're like, well, being an indie author is quite expensive, so we're going to take some of our money and give it to some fantasy people to help them, like, for pay for covers, pay for editing, pay for audiobook, whatever they need.
Mm,
That's the way they've been doing it in the past. Super cool. This year they decided they were going to pick fewer winners but give them more money so that they could focus on audiobook, which tends to be very expensive upfront cost. Also super cool. Mike Porter, I see you in chat over on Instagram, and I know that the other day you asked me about what is SPFBO or Spiffbo, and I didn't respond. So, Spiffbo is self-published fantasy blog off, or I've also heard it more lately book off. But anyway, and it's a big fantasy contest where there's 10 different judge groups, either different blogs or booktubers or that sort of thing, and 300 entrants per year these days. And so each of these 10 has to read like 30 books, and then they pick their finalists, and then all 10 read the finalists, and then they pick a winner. So the entry just happened, and they picked winners, or they picked entrants for
mhm.
the 10th year of it, SPFBOX or Spiffbox. Um, and so there's some other break-ins that are in. I don't think you're in right now, right, Frankie?
No, I didn't. No, I
Yeah,
applied, but I didn't get in, no.
yeah, yeah. But that's a cool one that should be on every writer's radar. There's some other thing. There's a SPSFC for sci-fi, uh, self-published science fiction contest, and it's basically the same thing as Spiffbo, or some people have been calling that space fuck, and I kind of like that more. There's also Sphinx, which is for novellas. There's what is it? That British, I think BBYNA. I don't really remember what it stands for. Remember what that one is, Francesca?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Um,
Yeah, BBYNA, book Book Bloggers Novel of the Year award.
there we go.
So for
Okay.
indie authors, yeah, I did enter into this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did. I got into that one, yeah.
That one I'm a little less familiar with. So like what is the sort of timing and process and how many judges are you do you know any of that off the top of your head?
I'm not too. This is I entered into it, but I don't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, I get. I mean, honestly, I think that's the right attitude, though. Get into like enter everything that you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
So it is okay. So let me see. This is from their tweet. 65 books will be semifinalists and get a spotlight tour day.
ooh,
15, 15 books will be finalists and receive a blog tour with
mhm.
like some other prizes. And then one winner will receive €1,000. So and other prizes.
Nice, nice,
So
nice.
yeah, so they do a bunch of different blogs are like the judges, and they decide on kind of like what goes forward from what I've seen.
That's
'Cause
sick.
they've been posting, like, the different types of blogs that are going to be judging for this year.
That's sick.
Um, they're panelists is what they call them. So, yeah,
Cool.
they
All
do
right.
that.
So you got Easeless Reach in that one. You got audiobook coming up. Good stuff. And you're also, I think you said a little bit earlier, like 84,000 words into the sequel.
Yeah, I'm about 85,000 so far.
Wow. Like,
I try to work on it a little bit every day, even if it's only for, like, a paragraph or if I'm on, like, rereading a section and editing it. I try to touch it at least once a day. But, life gets in the way sometimes, so
yeah, yeah. I hear you. That's pretty. I like that you try to touch it every day. Like, do you have a daily word count goal, or is it just like, no, I want to do something every day?
Yeah, it's just I don't wanna put, too much pressure under
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
myself. So I don't set myself a daily goal. I know that works for a lot of people, but it doesn't really work for me. It just kind of makes me like just kind of like, ugh, like
Stress
these
about it.
words
Yeah,
aren't
yeah.
good. Like
Mm,
I'm forcing these words to come out and they're not good. So like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I just try to do something with it every day. Even if it's like some days I can go on for hours and I forget to eat because I am in such a zone that, like I start at 9 a.m. and then I don't get away from the computer until like 5 p.m. and I'm suddenly like, wow, I'm about to fall over because I haven't eaten all day.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then there are some days where I just write a paragraph or I edit a sentence. And as long as I'm doing something with it, I feel like I'm accomplishing something. And I think that is accomplishing something. We all get hectic with our lives. I work a full-time job. Like I'm busy. I gotta things to
Yeah.
clean. I got things to do. So it's like
Totally.
it's okay if you're not able to write chapters and chapters every single day.
I think Neil Gaiman said that he wrote like Coraline at 50 words a day, and like I was like, nice, thank you. We needed that. We needed that, Neil. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, that's cool. When you say every day, and I'm just curious, like I kind of try to write every day, but like it doesn't happen every day. Like so Sundays are I almost never write on Sundays. Are you kind of like no, every day it's every day? or is it more like Monday through Friday or what does that work for you?
I try to do every day, but I definitely write a lot more on the weekends.
Nice.
I will definitely get a lot more done on a Sunday usually, just because
Yeah.
Sundays are really chill days for me. It's just kind of like my rest day, but also not exactly a rest day because I'm writing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's like it's funny when you're writing because it's like I love this so much, but it hurts me. Like
Yeah.
you I genuinely enjoy writing, but at the same time, I'm kinda like, "Oh, but I have this plot problem that I have to figure out, and, like, I don't particularly like the way that this character is talking," or,
Mhm.
you come across problems that you're trying to solve, but at the same time, you're just like, "But you love it so much," you know?
Right. Yeah, so very true, but also when you do, like, really kind of figure out the pieces to fit together, like, that's a great feeling, right? And you figure out how to solve the problem. Yeah.
When you fix the plot problem, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's
Yeah.
a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, have you had I'm sure you've had this too, especially, like, now you're on your 2nd book and you've written, like, shorts and poems too, where you sort of, like, you just know that you're kind of you've leveled up a little bit and you're, like, a better writer than you used to be, and you're like, "Ooh, nice. Like, look at me." Have you had that?
Yeah, so, like, I definitely think that I've grown a lot as a writer,
Yeah, yeah.
and, like, I kind of, like I have a better sense of what I'm doing with book
Yes.
2.
Right.
Like, I definitely feel like I've hit, like, a stride, a schedule, like, I know these characters, and I'm a lot I don't feel like I'm going back as much to fix things. I mean, I'm still
Yeah.
obviously fixing things, but, like, they're not as egregious as they were with
Mhm,
the first
mhm,
book. Like, the first book is wildly different from when I started.
mhm,
And with this one, I feel like it's pretty much almost gonna be like, this is kind of the way that it's going to be. It just needs to be dressed up a little bit more. It's like I've got the
mhm.
skeleton going. I just need like the muscle, the skin. I need to build the body. Whereas with book one, I kind of had to take the skeleton, break a few bones, screw in some, like I had to set
Yeah.
them with a screw and then, build it back up again. And
"Oh,
like there
you're
was a
getting a hip replacement." Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So, but with book 2, I feel like I have a much better sense of self when I'm writing.
Nice, nice. It's interesting too that you say that you kinda you know the characters, because that's one thing that, like, has been difficult for me with the book I'm writing right now. Like, there's one character that, like, I know this guy, and that's because he's in part, like, based on a guy that I used to play video games with. That helps. But there's another one that, like, I've had to reimagine a little bit. So has that been easier for you in book 2? It sounds like it has. And then, like, what was sort of your process for kind of getting to know the characters, especially as you were writing book 1?
So what I did, so I'm not a big like I said, I'm a pantser,
Yeah.
but so I'm not very good at, like, taking, like, that very, very, very first draft where where, write chapter 1 like, you do chapter 1 and you write a few sentences, chapter 2, write a few sentences, you kinda do that, um, just before you even start with the meat of everything until you start writing full chapters. I did, like, a character list, and I kind of, like, wrote down their descriptions, I kinda wrote down their personalities a little bit, and like I was saying before, is that I really like to take my characters on an emotional journey, an
Yeah.
emotional arc, um, because that's what I enjoy reading. I enjoy
Yeah.
character-driven stories, and so I write character-driven books. And so I know where I want them to be emotionally, and so I kind of take that and I drive it into their personalities, and that's kind of how I get to know them. And when I really get to know them is when I'm in the editing phase, like I'm, on draft 2 and 3 or whatever, and I look at it and I go, "Hmm, this character would never say this," and I change it. And that's when
Yeah.
I know the character. Is when
Yeah.
I find those bits and I'm like, "Hmm, that doesn't sound like them," and then I'll go in and I'll, make it sound like them.
So yeah, yeah. So that makes sense. Like that whole kind of first draft, you're sort of still like kind of getting to know them. And then when you're into that like that editing phase, then you're like, okay, I have an understanding of this character and I have an understanding of like how they would react and the things they say, and now I need to make sure that it's consistent throughout, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like I've heard well, one thing I've heard that before of like, like making the kind of a character sheet and talking about like the description and whatever. And like it's probably my fault not kind of the way that advice was presented to me, but like I always was like, okay, sure, description, like they're this tall, they're whatever. That doesn't matter. Now like I feel like the next time that I'm doing that sort of thing with a character, I'm going to be like, what would ruin this person's day? That's going to tell me so much about that character.
Mhm.
What does this person want on like their birthday or whatever? What would absolutely delight this person? What drives them nuts? Like what's a pet peeve? And I've heard like what's a pet peeve before, but like, I want to know. Like and like it
Yeah.
could be something simple, like if someone screws up their coffee order, like, well, that's a good one too. Like how would they respond if someone screws up their coffee order? You
That's a
know?
really great way of doing that.
Right?
That's a fantastic way of doing that, yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm gonna the next story or the next time I'm like, I need to understand this character better. I'm going through like some of these questions because I
Yeah.
think that's gonna, yeah, because that like without that, I was writing this one character, and my writing group was like, what is the point of this character? That seems like they're really only there just to sort of be like kind of a reflection of how cool your main character is. And I was like, well, a little bit, but I mean,
Well, a little bit.
yeah,
You know what the best one is
yeah.
when you write a character that's supposed to be a throwaway character,
Oh yeah,
but you end up liking them so much that
yeah.
you turn them into a character that, like, is actually somebody, a whole person,
A whole ass
and
person. Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole ass person, and just continues through the rest of the story. Because this
Yep.
recently happened to me with book 2, is that I was writing this throwaway character, and I'm like, "Oh, this character is way too cool to go out like this. I wanna keep writing them," and I found a way to keep them into the story, but, like, keep them, like, relevant in the story.
Nice, nice,
So,
nice.
like, I think that's the key to it, is if you're gonna have these kinda characters, they have to have some kind of role, they have to have some kinda agency in the story,
Yeah,
change something to make them, relevant, like, how is the story impacted by this person? And if the story isn't impacted by the person, then what's kind of point of having this person in there? So,
yep.
I mean, that's just my point of view, but
No, no, I love it. I love it. All right, I got one more question for you, Frankie. So, you've been doing reviews for a while. You kind of, got yourself some friends. You've gotten to know this kind of the broader writing community. You also got that lovely letter. So, besides that
mm,
awesome letter from your boss's daughter, your boss's kid, what has been like your favorite experience that you wouldn't have had you not kind of started the Bookstagram and or written the book? What's your favorite kind of man, that was so cool that happened, and that would have never happened in like 2019 before all this?
oh, well, like, I mean, the winning the audiobook, uh, thing
Yeah.
was pretty amazing. That
Yeah.
was awesome. Just like, I don't know, like, the best experience that I had in a when started all this is just like, being able to share my book with
Mhm.
people that I was like that I've become friends with, and
Nice.
that, genuinely like, strangers just kind of coming into my messages and saying, "Hey, I really liked your book, this was amazing." And
Nice.
it's like it's those kind of things, that, it seems so little and so small, and I know, like, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I don't wanna bother that person."
No,
Please
no, no.
bother.
Bother us.
Please
Bother your
bother.
favorite author. Yeah, yeah,
Bother your
yeah.
favorite author and tell them, because
Yeah.
they need to hear it. They
Yes.
really do, because 'cause they're in like, I'm in my head so much,
Yes.
and it's nice to hear how the story has impacted them, and, um they're like I've had people come into my messages and say, "You are such a bitch for what you wrote. I hate you. 5 stars." You know?
Yeah.
Like like, and that is, like, the best thing I ever could have, like, it's the most amazing compliment ever.
That's
So,
exactly what you want as like a grimdark writer, right?
it's exactly what I want.
Yeah, yeah.
It feeds me. It feeds my soul. Um, but yeah,
Give
just
me your tears.
yeah, I live off of them. Um And also and just getting away from a little bit of the writing aspect, just, like, seeing
Sure.
other people's recommendations for books, because as
Yeah.
a writer, you wanna see the way other people write, and
Mhm,
I have
mhm,
gained so much inspiration and knowledge and just, like, in prose and in characterization and
mhm.
plotting and dialogue and just, like, everything you could possibly learn about wanting to write, you can read it. Just like, so discovering new books is amazing. I would have never known about Malazan before. I would have
Right, right.
never known about it. I never would have picked it up because these covers are awful. We want to say that we don't judge books by their cover,
Yeah, but
but we
we
judge
did.
books by their cover. We
Yep,
do. So,
yep,
I would have never picked up Malazan, my favorite series in the entire universe, without, you know,
yep,
coming to
yep.
Instagram and meeting all
Well,
these
at
people.
least not until these, special editions that Petrick has led. Then maybe you'd be like, "Well, maybe I should give it a try."
Maybe. But then I would only be reading them now instead of like
Yeah, I know.
way
I
before.
know. Yep. What a tragedy.
It would have been a tragedy.
All right. Frankie, this has been an absolute blast. Thanks for hanging out with me. Where can people find and follow you online?
Well, I am under Witch King Reads at pretty much every single
This
social handle.
the best damn social handle possible. I love it. Love it.
It's just I when I was picking it, I was just like, I just Lord of the Rings is like my favorite thing in the world. So
Yeah.
that's just what I went with.
Love it.
So on Instagram, on Twitter/X, you can find me there. I am mostly active on my Instagram,
Mhm.
but because that's where most people are able to find me and message me is there.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at.
All right. All right. Well, thanks again for being here. We'll look forward for that audiobook announcement. That'll be forthcoming, right?
Yes, yes.
And thanks all of you for hanging out, Callum. It has been an hour. It's flown by. Thanks for hanging out, bud. Thanks for everyone else. Um, yeah, appreciate each and every one of you. And if no one's told you yet today, you're an absolute legend.
Legend.
There we go.